Centerpiece, the show dedicated to fighting on the front lines of political hypocrisy, exposing the lies and false promises of our leadership. And now your host, the voice of reason, Nick Messer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Centerpiece, coming at you from wonderful Rensselaer, Indiana. Congratulations to Centerpiece. This is our 10th episode. We've hit the double digits now, so kind of a little bit of a milestone there. Been at this now for 10 weeks in a row, and still trying to get out here and bring you the news and hopefully give a voice to the middle ground here in the United States. Got a few things to talk about with you guys tonight. One of the things that is probably going to end up happening is Angry Nick's probably going to come out because the ignorance is once again rearing its ugly little head here in the United States and mainstream media. Nothing new. We're used to that at this point. It happens all the time. So, but we'll get into some of that stuff, some issues with the coronavirus, something that NBC News has released, some information about that. NBC News dropped an article about the coronavirus. They released that today at 8:45 a.m. It's from their, appears to be from their, coming from their UK affiliate. And the article says, millions of people in London and the UK's southeast will be forced to cancel their Christmas plans after scientists said Saturday that a new coronavirus variant was spreading more quickly. Prime Minister Boris Johnson told a news conference that the toughest set of coronavirus restrictions, known as Tier 4, will be put in place from Sunday, putting regions under the strictest lockdown rules. As a result, non-essential shops, gyms, cinemas, hairdressers, and bowling alleys will be forced to close for 2 weeks, while people will be restricted to meeting one other person from another household in an outdoor public place. A bubble policy, quote unquote, allowing up to 3 households to meet over the holiday period in parts of the country that are not under Tier 4 restrictions, will be severely curtailed and will only apply on Christmas Day, Johnson said. He added that he bitterly regretted the changes but insisted they were, quote unquote, necessary. Alas, when the facts change, you have to change your approach, he said, adding that a briefing he had on Friday about this mutation of the virus, particularly about the speed of transmission, was not possible to ignore. The message is that this is the year to lift a glass to those who aren't there, in the knowledge that it's precisely because they are not there to celebrate Christmas with you this year that we will all have a better chance that they'll be there next year, he said. Johnson spoke out after he was advised by scientists that the new coronavirus variant was spreading more rapidly. A chief medical officer for England, Professor Chris Whitty, said in a statement on Saturday that the UK had informed the World Health Organization about the mutant strain. As announced on Monday, the UK has identified a new variant of COVID-19 through Public Health England's genomic surveillance, he said, adding that preliminary modeling data and rising cases in the country's southeast showed the new strain can spread more quickly. He added that scientists were continuing to analyze the available data to improve our understanding. However, he insisted that there was no current evidence to suggest the new strain causes a higher mortality rate or that it affects vaccines and treatments, although urgent work is underway to confirm this. There has been mounting anxiety across Britain, like other countries across Europe, is working to curb a second wave of COVID-19 cases and deaths, and the government is having to defend a plan to relax contact restrictions for 5 days over the Christmas period in order to lift the national mood. The government was too slow to introduce restrictions in the spring and again in the fall. It should now reverse its rash decision to allow household mixing, the British Medical Journal and Health Service Journal said in a unique joint editorial this week. The government was already under intense scrutiny for what many say has been a repeated mishandling of the crisis. More than 66,000 people have died, leaving the UK with one of the highest per capita death tolls in the world. With fears that relaxing of the restrictions over the holiday period could lead to a further upward spike, Johnson did not rule out the possibility of a third national lockdown for England in the new year. He told reporters Friday, "We are hoping very much that we will be able to avoid anything like that, but the reality is that the rates of infection have increased very much in the last few weeks." All right, so I know that was a bit long-winded. I needed to read to you guys the whole article because I didn't want to just chop through it or anything like this. This is what has come right out of NBC News, out of London. All right, we knew this was going to happen. All right, it's a virus. Viruses mutate. Now the virus is mutating, and they're using it as an excuse to perpetuate even further lockdowns. But see, the thing about it is, though, this is a really big thing. This is the only thing I've seen of it. Nobody's really talking about this. It's not going out through mainstream media. You know, they're sitting on it, and they're waiting for the opportunity to use it to lock you down again. Is essentially what's going on. All right. I have told you guys out there, anybody who's listened to the show, anybody who listened to Decision 2020 with Jason Reeve, anybody who's ever listened to the American Gun Show and the episodes that I've been on, Current Pulse, this is the coronavirus. COVID-19 is not a genie that we can put back in the bottle. All right. So this very thing that they're talking about right here, right now, is something we are going to have to deal with. All right. If we don't figure out and come to the conclusion that this is something that's just going to be a part of our world now. All right. The fact that COVID-19 is here, that's the new normal. Not the you can't leave your house. You have to wear a mask everywhere. You know, you're going to be restricted to the times in which you can go grocery shopping. Only so many people allowed in the store at a time. I mean, it's essentially going to regenerate the bread lines that we seen during the Great Depression. We're putting a huge dent in our economy because people, just not 30 minutes from where I live, another business in rural America has had to shutter its business for an undetermined amount of time. They don't know when they're going to be able to reopen because they literally could not afford to operate their business, and the county was locked down. They weren't even allowed to even have it open, and they weren't getting enough business through carryout in order to keep their business open. So that's another business in rural that paid taxes in rural Indiana. That's another business that provided something where people spent money and it went into the local economy, and it's gone. We don't know if it'll ever reopen. And by the way, the place had one of the best breaded tenderloins you could get for probably 100 miles. These things were hand battered. You know, hand cut. They were absolutely fantastic. It was a great place to go eat. Had wonderful atmosphere and everything like that. But doors are closed now. Not a whole lot they could do about it. They had a second location in another county which wasn't as under as strict lockdown, and that location is still open. So they went ahead and kept that location open, but that's even farther away. They're not going to stop with this. All right. We've said it ad nauseum on this show. You've heard it ad nauseum from a lot of other people. There was a big to-do about it for a little while in the news. The Democrats cannot let a good crisis go to waste. And they are absolutely running with this one. Because, and the reason why I say that is because all of the lockdown is coming from the left. The Republicans want to open things back up. They want people to be able to go back to work. They want to get the economy going again. They want money changing hands again. Because that money changing hands is what stimulates the economy. Okay? And while we're talking about coronavirus, I mean, we're constantly being told, follow the science. Follow the science, follow the science, follow the science. What they're telling you, what they're actually trying to tell you is follow the science that we give you. Because if you pay attention to the actual science, you'll know that what we're telling you to do is complete and utter BS. Because, even my 7th grade son is learning about the diffusion of gases and an airborne virus moves through a room, moves through a volume of space just like a gas would. So given Graham's law, which is a part of basic physics, which is the rate of diffusion of a gas, we have a formula for that. We literally can plug the numbers in and say, look, this is how long it would take for it to go across this much space. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about how things diffuse through the air, like hairspray or perfume or somebody farts. Think about that. All right? That stuff travels through the air. It goes. Those things go through the air, and the particles of all of those things that I was just talking to you about, the particles of the perfume, the particles of the hairspray, and the what you're smelling from a fart. All right, those particles are larger than the virus. All right, hairspray molecules are larger than the virus, which means the smaller it is, the smaller the particle, the faster it spreads. Okay? So, unless you are living your life inside a plastic bubble with your own self-contained air, all right, if you come into contact with anyone who is carrying the virus and is shedding said virus, you have been exposed. The mask does not prevent you from getting exposed. All right? Yes, the mask slows it down just a little bit. But not by very much. Because the other side of the science is called, we have diffusion, and then the other thing is called effusion. And effusion is an increase of the concentration. And you know how you effuse something? You force it through little tiny holes, like the little teeny tiny spaces between the fibers of cloth. Yeah. So as you're breathing with that mask, that cloth mask that you wear, that everybody's mandated to wear all across the United States, you put that cloth mask on your face. All right. And if you're shedding the virus, all you're doing is building that virus up in that mask, and now you're actually spreading. You eventually start spreading it at an increased rate, and you build the virus up, and you start actually increasing the density of the virus that you're expelling through that mask, and it happens relatively quickly. You guys, I'm going to get emails from you guys and say, well, you're supposed to wash your mask, or you're supposed to use a disposable one and throw it away. Well, all right. Use a disposable mask and you throw it away. All right, cool, good on you. But it doesn't take but a few minutes of wearing the mask if you're shedding the virus and you're spreading it. So the fact of the matter is if you're sick in any way, shape, or form, I don't care if it's the flu, it's the common cold, if it's COVID-19, so on and so forth, yada, 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 don't go to grandma's house. We've known this. This is something, I'm almost 40 years old. I know we don't go to grandma's house when we're sick because grandma doesn't handle it so well. Because grandma is elderly. And her body's already starting to break down. So just the regular flu could kill grandma. So it doesn't matter whether it's COVID-19, it's a regular cold, or if it's the flu, if it's pneumonia, if it's bronchitis, if it's a contagious disease in any way, shape, or form, don't go to grandma's house until you get better. Period. We need to stop living our lives in complete and total fear. We've got to stop listening to the mainstream media telling us every day, day in and day out. They've been telling us this since March. If you don't wear a mask and you don't stay away from people and stay in your house, you're going to catch COVID and die. And we know that to be false because the death rate in the United States has now fallen from 2% down to 1.7%. Now, is it still incredibly dangerous? Yes. To the elderly, it is. People who have pre-existing conditions, it is still dangerous to them. But like I just explained just a few minutes ago, just a couple of seconds ago, just 15 seconds ago, I just told you, everything is dangerous to them. They catch a strain of the flu and you lose grandma. We need to stop living in this constant fear of something. You have no idea how many times each day you dodge death without even thinking about it. We don't even think about it. You know? For example, you're driving down if I took you out into the middle of nowhere, like the Bonneville Salt Flats, and I told you that you and I had to drive at each other at 60 mile an hour and pass within 18 inches of each other when we pass, you'd be scared to death. You'd be like, no, there's no way I could do that. There's no way I could do that. But the fact of the matter is you do it every day. When you drive on a 2-lane highway, you pass a car and you're 18 inches apart, roughly. We do it every day. We dodge death every day. You know, my father told me one time, I was young and I was afraid of something. I can't remember exactly what it was. He said it multiple times. But I grew up hearing the phrase, what if a frog had wings? He wouldn't bump his behind trying to get around. We can't live our lives on a what if. All right? Because it's paralyzing. Sticking to the idea of what if. Well, what if this happens? Well, what if that happens? Well, what if you go outside and you go to start your car and it blows up and catches on fire? Well, that's not going to happen. Well, I mean, it's got the relatively same statistical probability of you catching COVID-19 and actually dying. But you are absolutely terrified of COVID-19. There are things out here in this world, in the real world, that is gunning to kill you every second of every day. We had a TV show about it, 1,000 Ways to Die. All the weird ways people ended up getting killed and dying. I believe it was on FX or Spike TV. And I hate to be dark or morbid, but guess what? We're all eventually going to die. There's only one certainty in life, and that is at some point you are going to die. You're not going to live forever. Might be COVID-19. Who knows? I mean, that's a possibility. Yeah, Biden will save us. He'll save us with his magic wand. That magic wand that he said that how he's going to lock down the virus. But we got to elect him first. We had to elect him before he would save us. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Quit living in fear. Get out and live your life. Not everything's out. Not everything's guaranteed to kill you. So one of the things that I also wanted to talk about tonight, talked about this on the Current Pulse show. Texas had a record amount of gun control legislation introduced. All right, they introduced 36 bills. They pre-filed them for the 2021 legislative session. 36 on the first day of pre-filing. All right, and I mean, it's just absolutely insane. Now, the biggest majority of these are the same gun control bills that we see day in and day out across the United States. They want to they want universal background checks. They want red flag laws. And they want to ban private sales at gun shows, and they want to increase the total number of gun-free zones that they have. But the real big one, this was the real stickler that stood out to me, House Bill number 196, which was put up by Terry Meza, a Democrat out of Irving, Texas. Imagine that, a Democrat. Wants to repeal key elements of Texas's Castle Doctrine law, including stand your ground and no duty to retreat. Essentially, I have read the language of the actual bill, and essentially what it boils down to is if somebody breaks into your home, you have to run away. You are not allowed to even defend yourself inside your own home anymore. It essentially becomes against the law to defend yourself unless in some way, shape, or form you are trapped. So the one safe place that we have, our inner sanctum of our home, is no longer sacred anymore. All right. She said, criminals only carry guns to defend themselves. Is not the dumbest thing you have ever heard in your entire life? Oh yeah, Mina, you're absolutely right. Red flag laws get innocent civilians killed. Because you have law enforcement showing up to somebody's house because somebody said something, and they're coming to take somebody's guns. They haven't even investigated whether or not it's the truth. I could call the sheriff's department and say that my neighbor threatened to kill his wife and me and his whole family, and they'll come down here and take all of his guns away just because I said that, even though he might, I could be flat out brazenly lying, and they would still come down and do it. And then he has to fight to have his rights reinstated, to get his property back. No due process. He lost his rights. He lost his property, and now he has to prove his innocence to get it back. But yet but the big thing we've always been preached about our judicial system is that innocent until proven guilty, innocent until proven guilty, innocent until proven guilty. Well, a red flag law is guilty until proven innocent. That's exactly what they do. Oh, just the level of stupidity that I am seeing out there. It's not getting any better. I'm out here. I put this podcast out. I've been trying to explain stuff to you guys. I've been trying to help it make sense for you guys. Show you the things that people aren't seeing. They're not understanding, that the mainstream media is hiding from you and what they're doing to you. And you just keep gobbling it up. Day in and day out, get another glass of the Kool-Aid and suck that one down too. You've lost your minds. You have completely lost your way. You guys are so brainwashed. The majority of people in this country are so brainwashed by mainstream media, they wouldn't know the truth if it walked up and punched him in the mouth. I mean, it's that bad. Got into an argument on Facebook with somebody because I was trying to explain to them the simple, basic middle school physics behind how the virus is spreading. Like I said, my 7th grade son is learning about the diffusion of gas in his science class. All right? This is basic science. All right? But apparently, because Dr. Fauci said it's a good idea to wear a mask, the virus goes, oh, crap. I can't infect that group of people over there because they're all wearing masks. I'm going to have to go over here to where the people aren't wearing masks because Dr. Fauci said I can't infect people that's wearing a mask. Science doesn't just stop. And the fact of the matter stands is science is built on facts and data and statistics, and none of that changes just because somebody has a piece of paper that says, I went to college, so I'm smarter than you. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, fantastic. Dr. Fauci went to college and he went to medical school and he became an actual doctor and everything like that. But the fact of the matter still stands is I can go online and look up his textbooks. I bet you $100 I can go on Google right now and find his textbooks that he used when he was in college and learn the exact same crap he knows. And guess what? I won't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it either. And the only difference we still know the same information. The only difference is he's got a piece of paper that says he does. Think about that for a second. A piece of paper holds more authority than most of the people of the United States will ever see. Yeah, maybe that's what'll happen. Because everywhere all across the United States, they've got essentially catch and release programs. They're not keeping criminals in jail because they might catch COVID-19 and die. But in a lot of places across the United States, if you don't wear a mask, they're going to come arrest you and put you in jail. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to say, Mina. I'm already saying it. Biden's already released a statement that he's going to sign multiple executive orders to his first day in office. January 21st. He's signing executive orders banning certain firearms. He's signing an executive order to put us back in the Paris Accords, in which we were financing, but nobody else was doing anything, but we had to do everything. Like, seriously. He wants to reinstate the individual mandate on Obamacare, which means you're going to go back to paying if you don't have insurance. The individual penalty is coming back. So people who can't afford to get out and get health care are going to get punished by the government's going to make them pay because they can't afford to pay for health care. Again. We just went through all that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's just absolutely blowing my mind. It blows my mind that people were so willing to vote for anyone but Donald Trump because Orange Man's so bad. I mean, and all of it was fed to you by mainstream media. Because, you know what? We got a break here. We're going to take this short break, and I'll continue that thought as soon as we get back.
Jason Reeve, the host of the American Gun Show here, inviting you to listen to our new show, Current Pulse. Join myself, Mina May, Nick Messer, and Samantha Reeve as we discuss top stories, political hypocrisy, and even stories you might not have even heard about. It's an open discussion of facts, not fake news like CNN and MSNBC. Join us on the weekly podcast Current Pulse, right here on Spreaker.com or your favorite podcast provider. Are you a constitutionalist and fan of the Second Amendment? Then you need to listen to the American Gun Show, hosted by me, Jason Reeve, the voice of freedom. We talk about laws, training, and everything in between. Find us on the Firearms Radio Network, iHeartRadio, and every podcast platform. The American Gun Show. Our rights, our fight.
All right, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to bear with us for that short break. Now that we're here and we're back, like I was saying, people legitimately voted. They didn't vote for Biden. They voted against Donald Trump, and they have no idea what they voted for. All right. Biden literally ran on the campaign of, I'm not Donald Trump, and Donald Trump screwed up coronavirus. That was his campaign. He never gave us any of his policies or any of his plans or anything like that. But he had them all listed online. Let's pull that up here real quick. Okay, so if you go to joebiden.com, his website, right at the bottom, he's still taking monetary donations. If he won he's already won the election as far as he's concerned, but he's still taking monetary donation. He still needs your money so that together we can make Donald Trump a one-term president and defeat Republicans across the country. Donate today. So, yeah. His battle for the soul of the nation makes me want to vomit. So one of the things that Biden wants is he wants to immediately create a public health job corps and put people to work doing that to help rebuild the economy. Seriously, go to joebiden.com. Look up his policies. That's that. I completely completely lost my train of thought there for a second. My apologies on that. But yeah. Are you ready, Mina? You had something you said you wanted to talk about.
Sure, yeah. If you... What's up, everyone? So, I read an interesting article today. And it just kind of got me thinking, this whole situation with Swalwell. You know, we've got all this information coming through now that Swalwell, basically, we're just gonna
come right out and say it.
Yeah, come right out and say it and hit it on the head that he was sleeping with a Chinese spy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and apparently, as far as this goes, he has been warned multiple times about this.
Hashtag bang bang.
Oh, jeez.
And here we go again.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. And he was warned about Fang Fang multiple times since 2015? That she was a Chinese spy. Now, wouldn't you think that would be grounds for, I don't know, I would say treason? I mean, all this time for 4 years now? 4 years we listen to people say, well, Trump is colluding with the Russians. That's treason. But there was never any evidence of this. And now we've got Swalwell and this so-called Chinese spy from
Chinese spy from China?
Yeah, Chinese spy from China. So this is what's confusing to me, okay? So this is where I'm going to get to the article here. Bill Pascrell. Okay, I don't know if you guys know who this is. This is a New Jersey congressman. Okay? Sent out a tweet. And his tweet, quote, "Tonight I'm calling for the eventual prosecution of Donald Trump and his enablers for the many crimes against the United States. Donald Trump and members of his administration have committed innumerable crimes against the United States.
What?
He has engaged in treachery, in treason." Now, Pascal, basically, because defined by law, the punishment for treason is death.
Capital offense.
Okay? Now, Pascal, by proclaiming him guilty just because he says so, wants Donald Trump to be executed by agents of a democratic regime. I say regimen. Whether it is authorized by United States Code or not. There has been none. There has been no evidence that...
Well, I mean, Russian collusion would be considered treason, and they investigated that for like 3.5 years.
Right.
Multiple times. Found no evidence of Russian collusion.
But now you have Swalwell, who has been told numerous times by who was it that we said? It was members of the FBI, members of the CIA.
Yeah.
All of them saying, hey, this is a Chinese spy. You might want to quit fang banging her.
Right. Well, and the worst part about it is Swalwell still sits on the House Intelligence Committee. He gets to hear the stuff that not everyone gets to hear.
Right. So he hears very sensitive information.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
But that's not treason.
Yeah, that's not treason. Pascrell goes on to say Therefore, in 2021, the entire Trump administration must be fully investigated by the Department of Justice and any other relevant offices. Donald Trump, along with his worst enablers, must be tried for their crimes against our nation and the Constitution.
Oh, is that the
This-
one they don't believe in?
Oh, yeah.
The one they're trying to amend and take
Yeah.
pieces out of?
This is a man who says, I support the Second Amendment. And he says, in quote, we raise our hands. If we are fortunate enough to be elected or reelected, we swear to hold up the Constitution of the United States and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm not exactly sure that that's... I'm sure that's not the exact way it goes, but...
Yeah,
but...
we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
But what... Okay, but... What? Here's the thing. What does Pascal want Donald Trump prosecuted for treason? He has attacked our elections and sought to throttle democracy.
Except for everything he did as far as the election was written in the individual state constitutions, that the candidate had the constitutional right to be able to do that.
Well, disregard for a moment that we don't live in a democracy.
We live in a constitutional republic.
Yes.
We are not a true democracy.
No.
We democratically elect representatives that represent us in government and then thus make those decisions.
Yeah. So, I don't know what to tell you. At this point, we have...
Well, and I mean...
We've got evidence of...
We got evidence of Swalwell colluding with a Chinese spy.
Yes.
We've got evidence that Joe Biden used quid pro quo to held $1 billion worth of federal aid to the Ukraine unless they fired the special prosecutor that was investigating his son. So we've got those two things coming out of the Democrat Party, the same party that this congressman belongs to.
Yeah.
But yet Donald Trump's the one who committed treason.
Yeah. Which is,
He's the one undermining our democratic elections, even though...
So,
in Wayne
here's
County,
the thing, is what I'm... Do you not see the hypocrisy in this?
Oh, it's absolutely rampant. And people literally don't see it. That's what I mean by them drinking the Kool-Aid.
I will never understand how people cannot blatantly see the hypocrisy in all of this.
They don't care.
No.
Because it doesn't, for the most part, it doesn't directly affect
And that's
them.
just like, I called out, what was it? Oh, man. I called out the New York Times today. What was it? No, I called them out yesterday they came out and said that Pete Buttigieg, I will never be able... Boot at edge. Yeah, I literally have to say boot at edge.
Yeah.
Just to say it right. Is the first openly gay man to sit on the cabinet, or presumably to
be in the cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh. Let's talk
Wait a
about
minute.
Pete for a second.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Because I mean, if you're going to be, I don't know, a journalist, maybe you're going to do your research and find out that's wrong. Because he's not the first openly gay man to ever sit on the cabinet. Yeah. Sorry to tell you, you kind of need to do your homework. Yeah, that's all posted, to the page. So if you want to go read that, you can.
What cabinet position does he hold?
Oh, God.
Let's talk about this one for a minute.
Wow. So Biden decided that Pete was going to hold the cabinet position of transportation.
Yeah, he's going to be the Secretary of Transportation.
Mm.
Pete was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana.
Do you know how many buses South Bend has?
47. Apparently, that's the qualification. If you have managed more than 47 or more buses, you are qualified to be the Secretary of Transportation.
So that would qualify my kid's principal to be the secretary.
Not quite.
Dang, he's like 20 buses short.
Yeah, he's like 20 buses short.
I mean, if you think about it, like Lafayette or Indianapolis, like somebody from Indianapolis, a principal from Indianapolis, anyone who has to deal with, any principal who has to deal with coordinating any of that completely. Except for
that has nothing to do with what the Secretary of Transportation has to deal with.
Yeah. Now, by all means, I am definitely not trying to make fun of this guy just because.
Oh, I am.
Of. Like, oh man. I love the fact that we are finally opening it up, and I love the fact that Trump did it first, which I'm not going to let anyone try to take that away. I'm not going to allow anyone to say that he didn't do it. Trump was the first president to ever appoint an openly gay man to the cabinet. Okay, so do your research, look that up. I don't even have to tell you his name. Look it up, find out who he appointed. Okay, because if you actually want to be a journalist, you're going to research this stuff.
Nuh-uh.
Okay, I'm sorry, but fake news is not journalism anymore. If you actually want to be a journalist, you will do the actual research that you need to do to find out the real facts. Otherwise, you're going to post something on Facebook, you're going to look like an idiot, and somebody is going to bash you and go, fact check, you're wrong, kind of like what I did. So, if you get ticked off, New York Times, at me, or, what was it, the pink something. Side-by-side photos I posted of you saying, literally.
You work on pulling that up.
I will. I'm hot about this right now.
Oh, yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
By the way,
Pink news.
Pink news.
Yeah.
What do we got for pink news?
Pink news. Okay? I bash them too. Okay? Joe Biden almost certain to make Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, I'm going to say it that way. But Pete Buttigieg, America's first out gay cabinet official. Okay. When was that tweeted? 11/9/20. Donald Trump just appointed his first openly gay cabinet member. When was this tweeted by Pink News? 2/20/2020. Pink News, get your facts straight. You're the one who posted this, so you're the one who should know what you're talking about, right? I mean, if you're going to do the work, if you're going to be a journalist, get it right. All right, that's all I've got. I'm hot. I got to get out of here. I'm going to give it back to you, Nick. I hope you can cap that. I don't know. So,
thanks, Mina. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to expand on that just a little bit. And, Pascal, man, treason is a strong word, bro. I don't think that's necessarily the direction you want to go into because see, with treason, there are no degrees of treason. There is no more treasonous or less treasonous. Treason is treason. There is no degrees to it. So the fact of the matter stands is you just said that 75 million Americans are guilty of treason and should be put to death. Because anybody who voted for him enabled him. So you believe that half of the country should be put to death. Because they didn't agree with you. That's what you're talking about. That's what you're calling for. They don't agree with you. They think a different way than you do. So they should be put to death. Anybody out there listening, what does that sound like? Oh. And as far as them playing up Pete being the first openly gay man in the cabinet, all right, so yeah, go ahead. Keep showing us exactly how Biden isn't selecting people based off of their qualifications, but because of their identity politics. Because that's exactly what Biden's doing. Biden has done nothing more this entire time but pander to everyone in the United States, and I promise you, none of that's going to come around because most of those things are mutually exclusive. Y'all have come out and you voted for a president who wants to give special treatment to other people. He wants to give special treatment to the minority at the expense of the majority. Because the minority's oppressed. That is absolute and complete and total, I'm sorry, we're going explicit on this show. That's complete and total bullshit. Everybody in this country at some point in time could potentially be oppressed. Quit playing the victim card. I'm over it. 100% over it. I get up every day, I take my happy ass to work, and I collect my paycheck, and I come home, and I don't want to hear about how hard it is for you because all you want to do is go flip burgers at McDonald's and need a $15 minimum wage. I hate to break it to you, you need to go do some economics and take an Economics 101 course because if you increase minimum wage to $15 an hour, it will not make things better. It will make it worse. 100%. Guaranteed. And don't tell me they've already done it in some places like Seattle and so on and so forth. Well, yeah, that's a small, localized group. That's a small area. Most of your large businesses, and they did that in California. California's got like a $15 minimum wage. You know what the median household income is in California? Go Google it. I guarantee it takes you years to make that much money anywhere else. It's insane. Middle class in California is like $250K a year. I make $50K. Wake up, America. Yeah, exactly, Jason. Look how that worked out. The cost of living in California is so high, they're flying out of there as fast as it is a mass exodus out of California. And that's why we're starting to see other states out there in the United States start to flip towards the Democrat Party because they're bringing their politics with them. That's why that's why we've got a legislature in Texas trying to pass 36 different gun control bills in one of the friendliest gun states in the United States. It's been an ongoing joke. You don't go mess around in Texas because they shoot you there. And they're trying to pass gun control. Mind-blowing. You left there because they're sucked. Because the leaders there sucked. But you want to move to a new state, and you want your new state to become like your old state. You really are a special kind of stupid if you think like that, aren't you? Yeah, I just called you stupid. That is literal insanity, doing the exact same thing and expecting a different outcome. That is absolutely insane. You have absolutely lost. You need to go see your doctor and see if they don't have a pill for that, because you've lost your mind. Seriously, people. Seriously. I've gotten to a point like I don't know what else to tell you. If you can't take what I'm telling you and understand what I'm trying to tell you and understand what I'm saying, I can't help you. Words are all I have. Now, Mina's got me heated now. But all right, folks. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Centerpiece. We're going to be right back here. Same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Central Time, Saturday evenings. Come check it out. Hope to see you next week. Thanks for listening tonight. And remember, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Benjamin Franklin. You can reach me at www.facebook.com/centerpiece. You can also email me at centerpieceshow@gmail.com, or you can shoot me a tweet at Centerpiece Show on Twitter. Thanks again for listening.
Jason Reeve, the host of the American Gun Show here, inviting you to listen to our new show, Current Pulse. Join myself, Mina May, Nick Messer, and Samantha Reeve as we discuss top stories, political hypocrisy, and even stories you might not have even heard about. It's an open discussion of facts, not fake news like CNN and MSNBC. Join us on the weekly podcast Current Pulse, right here on Spreaker.com or your favorite podcast provider.